Revenue Forum is a non-profit initiative started by me in 2008. We currently organize webinars. We hold these on Thursdays every 6 weeks, half-day seminars in 12 cities in 10 countries. And the coming seminars will be held in Helsinki, Oslo, and Reykjavik in November. I will give you more information about that at the end of this webinar. Whole-day events, and this is a unique hybrid event held simultaneously online as well as physically in Stockholm, London, Milan, and most probably more cities throughout the world. The next one is planned on the 31st of January next year. And also here, more information to follow at the end of this webinar. The topic of this episode is perfect packaging, how to increase ancillary revenue. And we invited an expert panel as well as our special guest, Therese Andersson from Icehotel, to talk about their view of the subject. We will close off the hour with a panel discussion. Participants to this webinar are a broad mix of listeners from all over the world. There are hotels ranging from 2 to 5 star, independent and large brands, and we will try to make this coming hour as inspiring to you all. Our expert panel consists of 5 speakers, and a special guest comes from Iceland today, Icehotel today. Expert speakers will each get 5 minutes to talk, and we will use a Petikucha format. This means that the presentation slides automatically change after a few seconds. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Annemarie Gubanski, and apart from the organizer of Revenue Forums, I am founder and CEO of Taktikon Consultancy and our soft brand Taktikon Hotels. Today, I will talk about how revenue management can help you make the most out of your package. Now over to the next speaker, Erik.
And my name is Erik. I'm a co-founder of Oaky, dressed for the occasion today, and I will speak about how to upsell packages.
Hi guys, my name is Neil James. I'm the COO from ReviewPro, and today I'll be talking about using guest feedback to enhance ancillary revenue.
Hi, this is Hicham Benyebdri, co-founder of Userguest, and today I'll discuss how to drive direct bookings using packaging, direct and incremental revenue using packaging.
Hello everyone, my name is Samantha Williams. I'm joining from Profitroom. I'm the commercial director there, and today I'm going to be talking about converting more casual clickers.
My name is Therese Andersson, and I'm the commercial director at Icehotel in Sweden, not in Iceland, in Sweden, Jukkasjärvi. And I'm here to talk about how we can increase extra revenue and buy perfect packaging at Icehotel.
Thank you so much for Therese. It's going to be as usual. We speakers, we are nerve wrecks. We do our best to keep us to our petikuchas, and everybody's going to enjoy you the most anyway. Okay, well, let's see if we can start the first speaker, who is Erik. Erik, well, you're kicking off. You're not only you're the petikucha expert with the petikucha expert shirt on as well. So hope you're ready.
You like it?
Yeah, I love it.
It's like a Melody Festival, and I don't know what that's called in English. It says no, yeah, we were actually recording the Oaky Awards. So we have every year in October, we have awards for the most creative upsell deals and the best performing Oaky hotels. And I was wearing this. So love for you all to see that when we are airing that in the end of October. And it was cool. And that's why I'm wearing it, because one of the most creative deals is actually a package. So that makes sense for today. So yes, let's go. So did you book a package the last time you booked a hotel? So I was looking through my own year, and we had one trip with my family to Tenerife where I booked a package because we had very specific needs, where we're going to this hotel where we're going to have a lot of in-dining at the resort. So we booked a half-board package. But all of my other travels had been to ski trips, has been to cities, etc. I haven't booked a single package. And I think it's because most of the time when we book our trip, we don't know exactly what we're going to do. And it's not very well personalized in terms of what packages we are able to get. And when you think about upselling and upselling packages or independent products, it is really all about that. How can you anticipate on guest needs so that you can proactively offer guests what they want and what will satisfy them in their trip? And of course, when you look at personalization and satisfying guest needs, what the first thing we need to figure out is what actually do guests want, right? So we looked at, we made a research across August, across Sweden, Italy, and the UK, around 85,000 reservations. And we listed what are the top deals and upsells that the business and leisure segment are requesting. And I would love to share this data with you. So on an individual level, the business guests want what I think we are expecting what they want. They want to have transportation to and from the airport. They want to have early bird breakfast because they have somewhere to go. And what I think is pretty interesting, they also want room upgrades. So a lot of the business travelers that were actually buying room upgrades bought more expensive room upgrades than leisure travelers. And that to me was a very surprising stat, because most people you speak to, you think, no, business travelers aren't spending anything, but actually, according to our research, they do. And how you can then package this is you simply put them together: an airport transfer and an early check-in, an early bird breakfast and a taxi pickup and a room upgrade deal. Great packages because it meets the needs of this specific segment. Then moving over to the leisure segment. So what do we think about leisure travelers? Well, we want to pamper ourselves. We want convenience. We are very keen on an experience. And according to our data, we also want breakfast. So looking at this analysis that we did, which by the way was in August, a very leisure heavy month, the data shows us pretty much in line with what we already think hotel leisure guests want. The bestseller deals were room upgrades, parking, breakfast, and a range of other deals afterwards. So simply put, if you want to upsell these as a package, bundle them together: breakfast plus upgrade, parking plus upgrade, or a variant of breakfast plus upgrade. But also, like one of the winners in the Oaky Awards, what they do is they look at how can I treat you like a local, and they bundle together: rent a bike, get a map of the city, get a lunch, and get something when you come back. But all of this, once we now know what guests want, business and leisure and other segments, we need to then make sure that the right offer comes in front of the right guests. And this is where segmentation comes into play. So if you're new to this, I would recommend start simple, but then grow and make it more advanced. But the more you can utilize segmentation, this is really, really, really important, so that you don't send the same offers to everybody. Because personalization is about, first of all, knowing what they want and then sending the right offer in front of the right guest. But you can do more things to improve conversion rate. This is where my passion topic, behavioral science, comes into play. I love this idea when you say you have a trip to London, you have a trip to Rome, and you have a trip to Rome with a free coffee. And now nobody looks at London anymore, because Rome with a free coffee is much more interesting than Rome without free coffee. And what you've done by just showcasing them with very, very small differences is that now everybody wants to go to Rome with a free coffee and not to London. And you can do this yourself when you're upselling. Put packages next to each other in a clever way will make people more excited to purchase. And a similar thing you can do with pricing. So a very standard kind of practice is called anchoring. So pricing anchoring means that the first package that you're showcasing is more expensive, and then you gradually go down in price. So the first package, when you don't really know how much packages are supposed to cost, then you get used to that price, meaning that all of the other package prices that you see afterwards look fairly affordable, and that will also increase conversion rates. So in summary, what we've learned today is that personalized packaging is all about first understanding your guest needs, utilize segmentation to send it to the right person, and don't be afraid to buy a book called Predictably Irrational by Dan O'Reilly or something like that. Learn a bit about behavioral science to try and maximize conversion rate through some clever marketing tricks. And then, of course, automate everything of the above through an upselling platform like Oaky. So this presentation for me was a lot about kind of the high-level methodology and some tips and tricks of what you can do. But I'm very excited to hand over the, I don't know what you call it, the stick, to Neil from ReviewPro and MyCheck, because we have an integration and a partnership with ReviewPro, where ReviewPro is excellent around messaging across the whole guest journey and measuring feedback across the whole guest journey. There's a really interesting symbiosis between what you're selling and how that affects feedback. I'm very excited to hear and learn more from a brilliant Neil on this topic.
Oh,
Thank
thank you, brilliant, Erik. Yeah, as said, over to Neil. Why did I interrupt you? Go ahead.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Erik. So hi to everybody on the call. Thanks for joining. My name's Neil James. I am the COO at ReviewPro. And during this session, I'm going to talk a little bit about using guest feedback to enhance ancillary revenue and talk about how that can be done, as Erik just mentioned, with messaging and talk a little bit about the integration with Oaky as well. So with that said, let's go. So while talking to many of our clients, we're hearing a lot of similar situations. There's a lack of staff and it's hard to find qualified people. Hotel costs are rising because of the global inflation, and so many have had to increase their rates. This has led to an increase of guest expectations, which are being met with lower service levels. Sounds complicated, right? It's challenging for hoteliers right now, which is supported by guest satisfaction data. According to the results of our benchmark report, we can see that the Global Review Index, or GRI, is dropping year after year. The Global Review Index is the industry standard online reputation score and collects data from more than 140 OTAs and review sites. So when we are setting up our revenue strategies and trying to maximize the benefit from our ancillary services, we cannot lose sight of what matters most, and that is the guest experience. If we take a better look at what guests are saying, we can see that food and beverage remains a key driver for guest reviews. It's the most mentioned category in reviews, with more than 75,000 mentions, which is about 15% of all mentions. This shows that F&B still offers great revenue opportunities for hotels. And to maximize these opportunities, digitization is key. By making it as simple as scanning a QR code to view and order, you can significantly increase the access to your F&B services. A client of ours introduced digital dining, enabling their guests to order digitally from anywhere in the property, and the average check value increased by 42% year on year. Another way to improve access to your ancillary services is also via messaging. Not only are you providing a new channel for guests, but by instantly giving the information your guests need, you ensure they complete their purchase or reservation. You can even advertise your services via the welcome message in your chat. However, when it comes to communicating ancillary services, we need to be proactive and innovative. For example, with our integration with Oaky, hoteliers can now leverage innovative channels like WhatsApp or SMS to drive upselling messages. Try sending out a pre-stay message to inform your guests of the special offers for that weekend, or add a question to your in-stay survey related to your upselling offers. What's important to keep in mind here is your communication should always have your guest interest at core. Upselling or cross-selling should be an informative way. If not, we can hurt the guest experience and eventually your guests will stop engaging with your communication. Now, to communicate in an efficient and guest-centric way, segmentation is absolutely key, as Erik mentioned. You have all this information in your PMS, which can be used to filter and set up communication rules that will allow you to upsell in a subtle way, tailored to the needs of your guest. For example, send special packages to your room-only guests pre-stay, but kids' activities to your family guests during stay. Also use this logic when defining the channels and timings of your communication to boost conversion. For example, early morning emails work well for business guests, but less for your leisure guests. To upsell more effectively, you need to understand the preferences of your market. And for that, you need guest intelligence data. Look at what your guests are saying about F&B or spa to understand what services to push, and importantly, not drive more negative reviews. You can also use competitor intelligence data to identify new revenue opportunities. When you're not sure where to improve or how to expand your ancillary services, dare to ask your guests with an ad hoc survey to your frequent and loyalty guests to better understand what offers are they missing, what would they like to see added. This will ensure you're catering to the evolving needs of your guests. And of course, We can't forget that whatever we promised must be delivered. You want to make sure you can operationally deliver what you are promoting and not overloading the staff with blowing up balloons if they don't have the time. It's bad for staff morale and it's disappointing for the guests. The final piece of the puzzle is always to measure the success of your strategies and the effect that they have on guest satisfaction. How have your campaigns affected the guest experience? Are you communicating in the right way to the right guests with the right offers? In the end, it all revolves around delivering better guest experiences. And for that, you need to make sure you have segmented communication to amplify your reach and engagement, guest intelligence data to understand your guest needs and expectations, automation and digitization to ensure your strategies are scalable and flexible. So at the end, it's all about making sure you use that guest data to drive the packages that you're offering to your guests. Thank you. And I'll hand back to you, Annemarie.
Thank you, Neil. Incredibly interesting. And I think you make a point also. It's all about personalization, and but really trying to get hold of what the guest really wants and delivering it to them. I thought it was very interesting. Thank you so much. So now let's see if the next speaker already is just like ready. Hicham.
Yes, ready. So here I'll speak about how to drive direct and incremental revenue through packages, and focus mostly on the pre-stay. So as soon as users land on the hotel website, how to best use packages. So ready to go? So what we do at Userguest is really about displaying personalized incentives to drive revenue where it counts. So these incentives, really the goal is to drive users, to really convince them to book directly on the website. That's really the problem that we're trying to solve. In terms of the industry, there's a couple of figures to throw. When visitors land on a hotel website, what we see in most cases that 4 out of 5 never make it to the next phase. So never make it to the booking engine in this case. So we see this as a big problem in the kind of industry, and that's the problem that we're trying to tackle. And I'll explain a bit how we can use really packages to solve that problem. So there's a lot of factors that actually impact why users never make it to the booking engine. But the main one we'd like to focus here is incentives, offers, discounts, perception that they're getting a good deal. To avoid that specific user or visitor to leave the website and obviously go back to the OTAs and book directly to another mean. So here packages can be a very good can be a great tool to really drive, not only to drive direct bookings, to really convince your users to book directly on your website on one side, but also to book more, to book something that's much more profitable for you from a hotel perspective, and to drive that behavior using the package as an incentive. So packages and effective messaging around packages can be a great way to convince those users to really book directly with you. So there's a few tactics that we've picked up, few things that our clients have been doing. So we picked up a few that are quite nice ways of doing, and some we thought would be good to highlight. So one way would be to use packages as an exclusive website deal. Look at it from a different perspective, could be as a members only tactic, or just users, visitors to the website that only them would have access to that specific package. So to create that exclusiveness and really drive users to book directly on the website through that specific package. That's really it could be a way to increase loyalty, it could be a way to just convince specific users, or to reward your members to remember their loyalty, or your existing members to continue booking on your own website instead of going to the OTAs or anywhere else. So that's one of the first tactics we wanted to highlight. Another one is to personalize the packages to the right customer. not just give away that package, just give away that deal for free in a way. So let's try to be pragmatic and try to identify your top bookers in the sense of what could be markets, or if you have the tools and the automation necessary to re-identify that specific user that tends to book for longer period, that tends to spend a bit more. Reward that person, that behavior in that way. So personalize the package to only markets that actually serve you the most and offer that as an exclusive way. Another way is to, similar to this personalization, but to drive much more profitable behaviors through packages. Again, using this package as an incentive. The way to look at it is we identify behaviors on our website. Some behaviors are much more profitable. Your market that tend to stay a bit longer, that tend to spend a bit more. We have this data through the PMS, through the different tech stack the hotels are using, but identify those users and reward them or try to convince them to either stay a bit longer through the packages, drive that extra behavior that it's more profitable for you. So usually they stay 2 days, give them a package to push them to stay an extra day, and use the package as that incentive to drive that behavior that's profitable. In other ways, also how to identify these users is purely based on the metrics that the hotels already have. Whether it's the length of stays, whether it's the markets, average daily rates, average revenue spent, how they spent, if they spent on restaurants or any other the spa or any other way to drive more revenue. So we identify those users and try to push them to stay a bit longer, try to force them or to have that behavior that's much more profitable for us from a hotel perspective. So in summary, the way to look at it is slightly different from what was explained previously by Neil and Erik, but use packages in a way that convincing users first to book directly on your own website, and try to find ways to package the room plus whatever it's needed, whatever challenges the hotels have, and push for specific behavior that's much more profitable from the hotel perspective. So that's really the way I think at the hotel website level. That's one way that we think it's great to use the packages as that direct booking tool. So hope that was insightful. So I'll pass it on next. So thank you, Samantha. Go for it.
Really insightful. Thank you so much for that, Hicham. Yes, as said, the next speaker, it's the girls, the girls' power now coming up, right? So Samantha, I hope you feel you can give it a go.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. So for those of you that don't know me, my name's Sam. You can call me Sam. I've been at Profitroom for about, 5 years really, but before that I spent all of my career in hospitality. I think it takes a special kind of person to work in our industry. We can probably all relate with that. So yeah, it's an industry that I think we're all passionate about. Profitroom is a company that drives direct booking results with intuitive technology and dedicated customer success. We have a website booking engine, channel manager, automated marketing, and much more. So I'm going to be talking about converting casual clickers from the guest experience side. Let's go. Brilliant. So here we can see converting casual clickers. So when we're talking about package sales, the people that book package sales, they're not your corporate rates, they are often your leisure guests. And when they're on the website as an industry, we have a very low conversion rate. So on average, 1.5 up to 2% of people that get to your website will actually then go through your e-commerce checkout and purchase something. What we want to do is increase that conversion and increase those casual clickers. And the way that we do this is by creating emotive experiences online. When we're talking about websites, when we're talking about packages, when we're talking about experiences, it's really important that we remember to sell the feeling, to sell the experience, and not to sell the actual itinerary that's included. And I can take an example from both sides here. So before I went into technology, I worked in hotels and I've sat on both the marketing side and the revenue side. So I'm going to give you an example here. As a revenue manager, you will create a rate plan, and inside the rate plan, you will put includes breakfast, full payment required upon check-in. It might be arrival time from 3 p.m. It will be the details of that package. And actually what the marketing side do is they say, come and dine with us. We've got a new beautiful restaurant. You can have breakfast in your room on arrival. They sell how you're going to feel when you're there. They will show how it will make you feel when you're at the property. So it's this selling what is a product versus selling how they're going to feel when they're there. And I think the website, even before people get to the website, is the perfect opportunity to do this. Your website should be inspirational, and they should have emotive purchase triggers on the websites as well. It costs a lot of money to get somebody to your homepage, whether it's SEO, it might be paid advertisements, they might be coming from social media. However the guest got to your homepage on your website, it has cost you money to get them there. And if we're not converting them through an intuitive experience, then we're not doing our jobs of converting that booking direct. You, me, and everybody that's on a website when we book, it takes one negative experience, a slow loading page, a mobile booking engine, for example, not working properly, not being able to find what they're looking for online, and they go straight back to something that's familiar, something like booking.com. So it's really important that when we're looking at our user journeys, we are making it as easy and as seamless as possible to them. We've heard a lot about segmentation already, and this is definitely a topic which we really need to focus on. And actually, I would argue that segmentation starts even before the guest books. So when we are talking about here, we can see a lady, that's one of our customers in Finland. We can see that she's in a sauna and she's overlooking a gorgeous view. Now, she's obviously looking for this peace and serenity. If somebody wanted to book this break, let's say it was a solo traveler or a couple traveler, and they saw a landing page full of families, full of kids, they probably wouldn't feel as much as an attachment to this property. So segmenting your offers and your packages by customer type is really important as well. Once you understand the segmentation of the customers, they attach sentiment onto that. And when a customer feels that, they are more likely to come back to your booking engine and book. This then brings us to cart abandonment. So once you have segmented your audience, and you know that the family packages, you know your business rates, you know what your customer is looking for online, and then they don't book. So we've already mentioned that the average conversion is around 2%. Actually, with Profitroom, our customers sit around 6%, but it's because we work really hard to show them dedicated content for them and bring them back into the booking cycle with automated cart abandonment. So the business customers that perhaps have got a special discount will get an email to say their discount is still valid and they can go back online to confirm that booking. The leisure customers that perhaps got a free bottle of wine when they check in will receive that email to say, hey, you didn't book, you can still get your glass of wine or bottle of wine, come back and book with us. And all of these prompts create people to come back into the direct booking journey. That then leaves us, so it's all about creating unforgettable experiences that are booked directly. This is our ethos at Profitroom. It is what we do. We have, for example, this property here, which is the Wilderness. We worked with them, and since going live, they've increased their package sales by 57% in not even 6 months, and they're looking at 87% direct this year. So it is achievable, particularly for those of you that really want to drive your leisure business forward. I saw a question in the chat as well about offer landing pages. For me, special offer landing pages, they need to be both on the website and then in the booking engine as well. And what we see a lot of the time is a broken customer journey. So a website, when somebody presses book now, it often goes onto a separate link. And when that happens, it's breaking that customer journey, it's breaking that customer trust. So for me, I would have a special offer landing page on the website that directly links to that special offer landing page in the booking engine to ensure that the customer flow is consistent throughout. And that's it from me. Thanks, Annemarie.
No, Sam, thank you. It was really good. Thank you. And professional. I can't do that. Just like answer questions and do my presentation. Okay, so last of the expert panel is me. And my name is Annemarie Gubanski. I am the founder of Taktikon, which is a consultancy specializing in revenue management and distribution. I'm also co-founder of Taktikon Hotels, which is a soft brand for independent hotels who would like to remain independent together with us. In these 5 minutes, I thought to talk about how revenue management can help hotels make the most out of their packages and increase revenue. Now, let's go. Packages are fantastic tools and a big help to increase total revenue. We can guarantee a revenue stream independent from demand. On low demand, you can decrease the room rate, but still get the possibility to gain ancillary revenue coming from the other departments. At the end of the day, where we make the money on is not as important as the fact that we make money. Packaging has the added value of enabling us to plan and optimize staffing, as we already know how many are coming and where they're going to be during their stay. Historically, packages have been very good from a marketing perspective, but where we were able to create a possibility to talk about the facilities we have to offer, such as restaurants, spa activities nearby the vicinity and more. Direct sales of these packages for most properties were not as high as we wanted. Though during pandemic, we noticed an increase in sales of packages on some markets, and they are now very good drivers for sales during leisure periods. Especially in Sweden, where restrictions were less severe, we saw an upswing in sales of packages. As most people both had time and money to spend on small breaks. Packages are ideal for this purpose, as it makes it easier for guests to make a choice and understand what their stay will look like. Most of these guests also spend more ancillary revenue during their stay. We humans are easy to forget money spent, and the package elements kind of feel free of charge. So we're open to spend more when we are there. We are right now again in a time of uncertainty, where we have a tough winter ahead of us and increased cost and inflation. Guests will not have the same budgets as during pandemic, but they will still want to feel that there's some light in their lives. They want to make sure that make much more careful considerations on what they will spend their money on. I personally believe that will mean an upswing of sales of packages again, though this also means that hotels should be clever on which package to sell and to whom. There we can get the help of lead times. When it comes to booking behavior, you can roughly divide the guests in two segments. One segment that book packages out of comfort. They are not so very price sensitive and want to spend money on themselves. The other segment books a package when they feel that it is a good deal. They want to have a good time, but are quite sensitive when it comes to budget. For most properties, these two segments have different lead times, which means that we can offer the right package to the right segment at the right time. We see that segment number one usually has a longer lead time. They book well in advance and are triggered by the level of luxury they can expect. How to make the most of these guests is to make sure you offer a luxury package and have that available on long lead times. Both the name and the content of your package has to show you offer luxury. These types of guests often book the upgraded rooms, so you can increase your supplement and dare to sell these rooms at a higher rate. Segment number two book much closer to arrival date, and they want to have a good deal rather than luxury. They tend to book the standard room, or if the supplement is small, they might book an upgraded room if they feel that it comes within their budget. So closer to arrival date, you can offer packages that suggest a good deal. If you still have upgraded rooms to sell, you can decrease your supplements to give you a chance to get rid of these and increase revenue that way. Segment number one usually spends more during their stay. So make sure you offer them wine packages, spa treatments, and anything you might be able to offer on site. Segment number two usually does not spend too much during their stay at the hotel. If you have a spa department, they might be open to visit the spa, but they are less likely to spend money on an expensive treatment. Neither are they interested in special wine packages, nor other types of luxury. So what does this mean for you practically? We suggest you have two levels of packages in store, but always show one or two of the most luxurious packages and make sure that the most luxurious packages are being sold during long lead time. Good deals are open for sales during shorter into the arrival day. We recommend not to blend these two, especially on the longer lead times, as segment number one looks for a luxurious stay and gets suspicious when they see that there are budget alternatives. They want to make sure that they book a good quality hotel. Make sure that operational staff has a good understanding of the two segments and have them offer anything that enhances the stay of segment number 1. They will feel it is a good service to be offered pre-drinks, wine packages, spa treatments, and other activities. Segment number 2 will not appreciate these efforts as much, as they will feel that the hotel is trying to get them to spend money. They want to be informed about the possibilities on site, but do not want to be pushed into a purchase. So make sure that operations knows which guests they have in front of them. And that was all for me today. I hope you enjoyed the 5 minutes I gave myself during this webinar, and please forgive my generalization. Do get in touch with me if you want to know anything more about Taktikon or our recently started soft brand Taktikon Hotels. And I think with that, we go over to our star of today, Therese Andersson from Sweden. Therese, thank you so much for joining us on this webinar. Would you be able to tell a bit about yourself and about Icehotel?
Of course. As you just introduced me, I'm Therese Andersson, or Tess, and I work at Icehotel since a bit more than 2 years back. And I have a bit more than 20 years of experience from the hospitality industry, mostly doing commercial work, but also operational. And Icehotel was in a situation, an economic situation, a couple of years back that was not sustainable. It had been going on for quite some time. And having private owners, etc., they asked me to lead the transformation of Icehotel's commercial work forwards. And this was in the middle of the pandemics. So it was quite scary, of course, but also exciting, because I'm very driven by making changes. And I thought this would be an exciting experience working with a brand such as Icehotel, well known all over the world, and doing this kind of work together with a team of, we're 11 people in the commercial team, and all professionals, all very driven. So, and of course, being in this fairy tale that it is being at Icehotel, was of course also one of the deal breakers for me, coming up to Jukkasjärvi and being a part of this winter wonderland, where we have all the nature phenomena of ice and snow. We have the northern lights. There is a culture that is very mystical up in the Swedish Lapland. So yeah, that's a bit about Icehotel.
I've been there. It's magical.
Yeah.
It's really nice. Yeah. Icehotel is a unique destination in itself, right? I guess that gives some advantages, but also disadvantages at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's mostly advantages, of course, being at Icehotel, but a challenge can be, of course, picking or the icing on the cake, so to speak. There is an abundance of experiences around Icehotel that you can package, such being food and beverage activities or nature experiences, the exotic culture, as I said, and also the people in Jukkasjärvi and working for Icehotel. They are so passionate about everything they do, and when we then pick the icing on the cake, it's what we call it is curated Arctic experiences by Icehotel, where we do some of the activities, of course. We have our 3 restaurant outlets. We have dining in the wilderness packages. We have Northern Light safaris, etc. But we're also like a hub or the heart of the village, the community of Jukkasjärvi, where we package and sell other experiences that is performed by contractors, subcontractors, such as the visiting the reindeers at the Sami camp, or the dog sledding performed by a friend of ours, we must say, because we're all like in this community together, being a destination. And the challenge then would be that being this hub, we're not only a website where we inform and inspire, we also need to have the technical tools in order to sell everything under the umbrella of Icehotel, where we have the inventory, of course, of the rooms, etc., but we also have the inventory of these subcontractors that is not only by number, they're also timely. So it's a technically advanced spider net, so to speak. So that's a challenge.
But then again, I mean, ancillary revenue must be a big part of the revenue stream for Icehotel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the activities and food and drink is crucial for our business. One can say that for every Swedish krona that you spend on a room, you spend the same on activities and food and drinks. So it's very important to us. But it's also about who we are, and that we are true to ourselves, and we're working for a sustainable community. So like the previous speakers told us before, that it's the entire experience, and we need to listen to the guests, what they want to do. It's hardly anyone who comes to Userguest and Icehotel and just want room and breakfast. That would be a waste. And you would not want a guest leave Icehotel and at a dinner party a few weeks later, somebody asked them, oh, did you go on the Northern Light Safari? And they traveled from, I don't know, South Africa or something, and say, no, nobody told us about this. Then they would be really disappointed, right? So when we do, when we follow our strategies and we set the tactics for how we're going to work, we need to consider all those things. And we have this professional team working in our sales department. So when we get calls and emails, of course, they can tailor make packages for our guests, but it's also about when we enter, or when the guests enter the website, that they get those messages in the booking stream that you're on day one. You can do this activity, you can be picked up at the airport, etc., etc. So we have integrated in the booking flow also the activities, and that has been really successful.
Interesting, but I've always thought that like a destination hotel such as yours is like it's an automatic, you know, people just automatically want to come to you because you're an international trademark, right? But then is it easy to keep your distribution cost to a low level in that case?
Yes and no. It depends. I've heard so many people say before. Well, like most other destinations or hotels, we have high seasons and we have low seasons, of course. So during high season, then you guys help us out to the revenue, and we can, through channel shift, alter how we sell and optimize that, of course. But during low seasons, I would say that our distribution costs are as high as any other property, because then we need OTAs, etc., to sell our product. But we have lowered our distribution costs these last 2 years, and it's mainly because of a channel shift, but also other initiatives. Like, for example, we work very much with SEM and SEO, which we haven't done so much before. We have opened up for new channels. We have entered into partnerships, and we're looking into new partnerships also. Example given is recently we started to work with a network of high-end agents, and then we reach our end client very efficiently. But maybe the distribution cost isn't that much lower, but we reach them without having a lot of other cost of sales. So it depends. But what we also have seen is our online sales has increased vastly. And we now have a 9 percentage points increase of room nights seen in these last 1.5 years, but 16 percentage points in sales. So it means that our online clients or online guests who purchase online, they actually purchase more and more expensive rooms, the higher room categories. So I would say that has been quite a success to make our guests or the easy doing business with strategy work online.
Yeah, and well, I presume as you have a lot of people that you work with, this easy doing business thing online is a bit of a challenge, right?
It is quite a challenge with technique. And talking about the inventory of others, having agents booking directly. So it has been interesting for me, even if I have quite some years of experience from before, from working in hotels and other parts. Working in a destination such as Icehotel has taught me a lot.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Therese. Thank you, Tess. It was incredibly interesting. Anything you would like to add, or shall we?
No,
Okay, let's see if we can involve all the speakers here, and maybe we can also involve all of the participants. Please do ask your questions. Now's the chance. We have the experienced speakers here. I think maybe I'll start with Erik. Erik, because you said something like, okay, you have the most expensive package in the first on top, and then you just decrease it. I think there's a lot of people that just have this idea like, okay, it should be like, okay, somewhere that you have maybe the middle package on top. Because you would like them to book maybe the more expensive package, but then that was your experience.
Yeah, no, this is what science says. It's similar. Like if you're negotiating with your partner, or if I'm negotiating with my dad when I was young to borrow his car, and I give him an absurd deal in the beginning, and he says no to that, he's going to be more likely to accept something else because it doesn't come across as so strange. So it's just anchoring. I think it happens all around us all the time. If you see something that in the first point, but what's important with anchoring is you shouldn't already have an anchor for what it costs. Like, you know what ketchup or mayonnaise or something costs, right? But a package at Icehotel, I have so many questions for you, Therese.
Good.
I found it so interesting. Like I was thinking about it. If I was to go with my wife, I wouldn't know what to expect because I'd never had such an experience before. So that's interesting. I don't know if you have a lot of people that are traveling for the first time, but at least me, I was thinking, what would be my expectations? I don't know what they would be unless I start YouTubing a lot, maybe, and stuff like that. But how do you manage that? I was also curious. Sorry, I'm stealing the question, Annemarie. But and you talk a lot that you had a lot of success in your online guests. Can you tell a bit more? Like, have you tried to segment them and understand where are they coming from, and can you track it all the way down to what they're doing on property and in terms of experiences? So to try to, because I love the idea of trying to figure out these guests, they are very profitable in how we sell to them, And these are the things that they do, which is they're experiencing Icehotel the Icehotel way, you know, so they are happy, and then they will end up leaving great reviews. So let's try to figure out a way to make that a strong feeder market.
No, actually, we have not been deep diving into segmentation in the way that I've heard here today, and it's one of the technical issues that we face with our technology we have today. What we do then to meet those expectations or the questions is that we have understood from years of experience from my co-workers at Icehotel that since we are a bucket list destination, a lot of people, they do want someone to talk to. So we do have this reservation team that take care of many of the tailor-made questions. And then as a complement to that, we have the always on packages. And then we analyze those packages that are new all the time, if they are selling or not. And then what is actually most different from other places where I've been before is that we are like an e-commerce market. So when you first enter the page and you're to book a room, you get asked how you want to stay, and then you have the recommended stay. So in case you're a bit confused, you get the recommended stay, and most people of course take the recommended stay. And then throughout the booking flow, then we add the activities that are most popular, and they are different depending on what day you're staying, and if you're staying warm or cold, etc. So it's quite technically advanced.
How many don't pick a single activity or like extra?
Who many doesn't book
how many pick an extra in the booking process before they?
Well, I would say everybody who calls us or emails us or books online books extra activities. At least one.
Yeah, I found that difficult to determine when I booked it, because sometimes you also don't know, is it just like one activity a day, or do you want to have something in the morning or afternoon or something like that? It's always quite difficult, I can presume. Yeah.
Most people, they have this FOMO, fear of missing out. So they do everything once they come to Icehotel.
It would suck if you
the entire Icehotel experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you talk about the packages being at the top, because we've got a lot of inspirational travelers that come and they see everything you can do. So we always advise our hotels to have almost a signature package. So the best spa treatments, the best activities, the best room, the best champagne, because this showcases everything that you have. And this isn't the package which sells the most. You'll be lucky to sell 1 or 2 of them a month, but that is that catch that you were talking about. And it's really interesting because people that do look at the packages, they almost probably 60-70% of the time do book a standard rate plan, and then they upsell or they go and get upsells afterwards. But it is the packages that creates that experience to actually bring them back.
Yeah, I think you maybe got also then a question on that one. Tips on order of packages. I don't really know if we already answered that when I asked it to Erik, but it came right in when I was talking. So the most expensive ones are just like on top, visible. That's the tip.
Is that for me? I don't know. I don't know about website, but probably start with and Nick said predictably irrational is a great read. Yeah, definitely. I would recommend everybody to read it. Therese, you should definitely read it. It's a very easy read, and you will be inspired by things that you can do.
Maybe let's go over to Neil, because I mean you also were into just like using guest intelligence data to upsell more efficiently. And I was wondering, would you have a few examples around that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, at the end of the day, there's so much data out there, as I mentioned in the presentation. one of the key things is you can identify a lot about the expectations of your guests based on language and country, right? The data that's coming from the reviews, where are they coming from? Specifically, guests from the UK or from Spain or from the States. What is it that they're looking for when they come to your property, and how do they actually provide feedback? What do they talk about the most? I think one of the things that we speak a lot about, we tend to survey guests a lot these days. And I think one of the key things is making those surveys personalized as well. Understanding, that they had a package, they bought a package, and then asking a specific question in the survey about that. Not asking them, did you use a package? But hey, you bought this specific package. How would you rate it? What was your experience, etc. Right? Because then you can identify from the segmentation of from that guest, from the experience that they had overall, what was the impact of that package, and how personal do they feel that it was, and how do they emotionally attach to that particular package as well. Right? So there's a lot of information. And then finally, I mentioned about mentions of food and beverage. A lot of the text that comes in from surveys and reviews, we look at the semantics of those. So we actually break down by specific keywords that they're using. Were they talking positively or negatively? Do they like the breakfast? Do they not like the breakfast? Were they talking about the eggs? Were they talking about the temperature of the room, etc. Right? So there's a lot of data there that can kind of help you to identify, are we driving the right packages? Are we positioning them correctly? And more importantly than anything, making sure that you're not driving packages for things that guests are speaking negatively about, right? And I think then to just one point to add to Tessa's comments, I think, you mentioned about the fact that, customers tend to have a lot more questions for a destination on a property like your own. And I think that's where it's super, super important to make sure that you're available across the key messaging channels, right? Because people are so used and so connected to their phones now, and a lot of the surfing that they will be doing to look at, okay, am I going to do it, etc., will be while they're on commutes. They're starting to dream about where they're going, what they're doing. And if those questions come up, making sure that there's messaging there so that they can already reach out to your teams and be able to actually get answers to those questions, that'll obviously help to drive that process of getting those bookings through.
I totally agree with you, Neil, and we have just now actually implemented new routines and a new technique for our pre-arrival letters with the frequently asked questions that we do get to our info mails or reservation mails, just to minimize the number of questions that we need to handle on site. So instead they can read those themselves.
Interesting, thank you. Maybe Hicham, you've been part of the previous seminar, so I saw you also a little bit about talking about what your philosophy is behind Userguest. But you talk a lot about, it's like, okay, adapting. So all of you are talking about this, like adapting your message, adapting your packages to the guest. But how do you identify a guest when they've never been at your hotel and it's the first time they're looking? How do you identify what you are going to package to them at that time of booking? Do you have a?
Well, we try to keep it, it's extremely hard to always have this conversation, I think, about predicting that specific behavior. So we do use data, we do use we plug to different sources. We try to predict mostly length of stays, windows and such. But from that perspective, I think packages, I would rely on existing data, on the hotel's existing data and the existing behavior that we see. For instance, could be one specific market. We see them booking, let's say it tends to be UK and US in most cases, across the board. They stay longer, they spend more, they go for higher room categories, average ADR is higher than some other countries. So really depends on that. So if you don't have enough data, rely on the existing, data to predict, rely on the existing data. And based on that, what we usually recommend is, whether it's offers, in this case, whether it's offers or packages, I see it really in very similar way, is to just reward the ones that deserve rewarding. and use the package in that sense, the offers, the incentive, the discount in that sense. And I think where packages can be a bit even more helpful for the hotel is you can combine it with another challenge that you might have. For instance, let's say it's you have any challenges with F&B, providing that extra, let's say, credit, restaurant credit, or just little things. It's just a little push towards the bar, towards the restaurant. They have a bit of credit, then maybe they wouldn't have considered the restaurant or the bar. But just having little freebie that doesn't really cost you much. If you give 10 euros extra for daily credit, it's not costing you 10 euros. It costs you cost. So that pint, that free drink, free pint, takes you a long way. I think so. That's a bit what we tend to recommend, and how to combine challenges and try to cover two at the same time. So driving more of a behavior that's suiting you and is profitable for you, and combine it with a challenge that you might face. Could be F&B, spa, or just get them started with the spa. Maybe they would have considered the spa, but just that little extra.
I think we can also add dynamic content to this. So even before the guest comes to the website, there are some things that we already know. So let's say, for example, they've searched a summer holiday in, let's take Sweden, and let's take the Icehotel as an example. What the Icehotel can deliver to a customer in summer is not comparable to what the guest can get in winter. This is a very unique challenge for the Nordic market. So what we can do is, and we have it with a lot of our Nordic websites, we have seasonal landing pages and dynamic landing pages. So if somebody is searching for summer, they will see summer packages, the midnight sun, hiking, riding, bike breaks, things like this. And those packages are brought to the homepage. On the flip side, if somebody's searching for a holiday and they're searching for I don't know, Sweden in December, Icehotel, they will straight away see all of the packages around all of the activities and excursions that are available in that period of the season. So even before the guest comes to the website, we can still take that data to give a better experience without even knowing who they are.
Fantastic. Thank you, Sam. I think we're almost at the end of the webinar. Is there anything that you speakers feel that we haven't said and you really wanted to be said?
I was just thinking very quickly on your example, Annemarie, the two segments, what you can do there to segment on them, either you have different rate codes because you know what they booked, or you segment on room type. That's also something we see a lot. So
yeah,
the room type that is booked, you can tell what these guests probably need.
Sure. Very valid point. Thank you. Anything more before I go and close off the webinar? Okay, well,
thank you, Annemarie.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Annemarie.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
thank you.
That was then the end of the webinar, and I hope you had an enjoyable hour. I enjoyed it at least. Our next webinar will be on the 24th of November, and it will be about travel statistics within the hotel industry. This is traditionally the topic of the last webinar of the year, and I hope you'll join us again then. We will send the recording of the webinar to you as soon as possible. About the half-day seminars, we organize these in Scandinavia, Nordics, Baltics, and Benelux, and we'll have our first ever seminars in Helsinki, Oslo, and Reykjavik in November, where we will talk about how technology can help hotels generate more revenue. For hoteliers who want to spend half a day of inspiration and mingling, this is a free of charge seminar to attend, and you can find all the information about our seminars and webinars on our website, revenueforum.net. Last but not least, further, we are in the midst of organizing our next event on the 31st of January 2023. This is a unique and hybrid event held simultaneously in Stockholm, London, Milan, as well as online. And I mean, we thank our Platinum Plus sponsor Ideas, but also our Platinum sponsor Oaky for helping us to organize this. Without you, we would never be able to pull this off. For participants, you can join us either on one of the cities or online, and you can see wonderful Erik Tengen again in action, and when he enters the scene for his Pecha, which will be shown on all 3 events, as well as online. And I hope you will be able to join. And that was all for today. I hope to meet you on the next webinar or on one of the seminars or events. And thank you all for listening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Annemarie. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.